Guys, I have a brand new hour of stand-up material that I'm actually filming as a special. It's going to be coming to you very soon. February 2nd at the historic Ryman Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee. Go get Tiki Wikis. I'm really proud of this work, so have fun. That theater, the Ryman, is literally historic and awesome. Make a trip down to Nashville just for that, because it's a great city and a great venue. February 3rd at the Warner Theater in Washington, D.C. That show is almost sold out, so if you want to get the tickets, go get them. And then February 9th, Grand Sierra Resort, Reno, Nevada. And then the next day, it's right before the Super Bowl. Come to Reno. Come see my show. We'll get a prostitute legally. We'll go to the Super Bowl. ChristyComedy.com for Tiki Wikis.
That sounds fantastic. It's an awesome hour, too, so absolutely go get those tickets. MikeCannonComedy.com for my tickets. That was a hell of a lot of lung butter I just coughed up. January 26th and the 27th, I'm in Chandler, Arizona at Mike Drop Mania. 4 shows for that. Tickets are moving, so please go get those. Then in February 15th, I'm in Austin, Texas at the Vulcan Gas Company. 1 show. Then the February 16th through the 17th, I'm doing 4 shows in Fort Worth, Texas at Big Laugh in Fort Worth. It's a brand new club. Very excited for that. All of these dates, I think I got some stuff in March as well, really pushing this stuff, but all of these dates are leading to my special filming, which Chris is producing. Very excited for that. It's going to be, we're not fully announcing the date yet, but it's in April on the early side, so just keep an eye out for that, and MikeCannonComedy.com for all those tickets.
I'm not producing it anymore. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Chrissy Chaos. We have with me, as always, Mike Cannon.
What's up?
On the ones and twos, Vito, Wreck-It Ralph, Khaleesi, and then John, Jihad, John, Grady, here, queer.
Johnny Low Eyes.
Yes, absolutely. Johnny Low Eyes, JLE. Go Mets. So, and of course, as always, coming to you live from the Hive, Slam Magazine Studios, slamming them back with Mike Cannon, because nothing says basketball like 2 straight white males with Timberland boots on.
That's right. Have you seen that guy at West 4th Street that just challenges people as they walk by? He's wearing full, laced up, tight Timberland boots.
No.
And he just tells people, let's play one-on-one. I'll play you for $100.
And he crushes them?
He annihilates them. Has such old school New York game, too, of just shoulder bumps, walks, whatever, pivot foot nonstop, hook shots. It's awesome to watch, dude.
Dude, I immediately, as soon as I walked in, I noticed that Mike and I both were wearing Timberlands, and I immediately got furious because I'm wearing the girl ones. Jasmine got me the cream bottom ones. Mike is wearing the classic New York Timbs. Can you see them on camera?
Dude,
Mike is wearing the classic New York Timbs, and I'm wearing the little bitch boy ones, and I'm furious, and I'm genuinely mad at Jasmine.
You do look like you should have a shiny bubble jacket on and hoop earrings with your name in it.
Chrissy.
Just gorgeous Puerto Rican girl Timberlands.
Yeah.
These were purchased by a fella. I got shoes bought for me by a guy. I'm not 50 Cent. I would take P. Diddy up on his offer to go shopping.
100%.
But this guy in Florida, just as a fan, it was like, hey man, do you want Timberland boots? And I was like, what? Yeah, sure. And then he got me these Timberlands, showed up at the show, gave me a box. I feel I feel like somebody's girlfriend wearing these.
Right.
But,
Dude,
I feel well taken care of as well.
The Timberland boot is amazing. It's snowy and icy in New York City here today. The problem is, because of my dumb Achilles injury, because this boot's a slightly heavier than a sneaker, the pain I feel in my Achilles is next level. And let's be honest, is there anything gayer than the Achilles?
No.
Even he got dipped in a little...
Holding him up like this.
I dipped my little Achilles, and he can't feel any pain unless it is little itty-bitty Achilles. So I feel like my Achilles, and by the way, being gay is powerful.
Even an arrow going through it, he definitely went, ooh.
Ooh, ow, now I'm gonna die. The Achilles injury is the gayest injury, and it's the gayest part of the body. I think the Achilles is gayer than the penis, and I'm not using gay. I'm not saying
negatively.
Gay is negative. I'm saying just factually.
Just as deviant.
But the Achilles is so gay. It's gayer than my butthole.
It is. Well, that is why Kobe, while he was shooting those free throws with a torn Achilles, he kept reaching back to his asshole.
Yes, the gayest thing men can do is rub Achilles. Dude, it literally it's so beyond frustrating. It's so beyond frustrating to have this. The Achilles is nagging, dude.
Yeah.
I'm going to call the Achilles my wife.
That's not bad. Give her an Achilles nickname. That's not too bad.
Hey, I call her Achilles because she nags me.
Because she constantly is bothering me from the back.
Yes.
But because I feel like not a man, like, walking around, everybody looks cool in Timberlands.
Yeah.
But I'm always looking at it where people walk and they seem to be comfortable and they're moving around and it seems to be like kind of a shoe that they feel fine in. I'm like clomping around, having to lift my feet, like feeling really held down and not athletic at all.
Yeah.
And so that's how you feel while wearing it, or it's just because of the injury?
And like taking the train here, I'm like, literally, I had this thought walking up the steps of the train. I was like, well, at least because my boots are heavy, I'm getting a good glute workout. Like I literally, by the way, we need to get a table. I can't stand looking at my fat thighs just bunch up on these cameras. And me and Mike's fat thighs with our Timberland boots, we look like peaches.
Yeah.
I need a table, dude. I only want people to see me from the button up. So Slam, if you're listening, bring in a table.
There was also, I don't know about you, but there's moments of this show where I turn or am so bunched up that I feel like just the clitoris of my penis is showing through the denim, and it's just this absolute mess.
You had a table, but you didn't have like a front on it before. So we still saw your legs and your lower body.
So I want to get a table that covers us.
Yeah.
You mean a desk?
A desk. That's what I want.
No, this is what we should do. We should go full-blown Uncle June from Sopranos, and both of us wear blankets.
Ooh, FDR.
Yeah, just blankets with teacups.
We should come in like FDR in wheelchairs with blankets. Every show we just have full polio. Dude, I literally, and you know what else too? I've been off, I speak about this weekly because I think it's important, but getting off social media and just being on it like in a small way and trying to follow positive accounts and all that and using it because you can't release social media from your grasp entirely. We don't live in that world. So just how do I use it productively? But once in a while, old clips of me will come up from like the summer.
Yeah.
And I was relatively the same weight. Maybe I'm a little heavier, but I was just more tan.
Yeah.
And I literally want to cry when I see myself from 6 months ago. Because I'm like, look at how nice you looked. And now I just feel like a fat, pasty piece of shit, but it's all in my head.
Fat, pasty piece of shit. That is merch.
Yes.
That's like your new clothing line.
That's our fan base.
But also, I think we are plumb in the middle of January in New York City. I forget about seasonal depression or what effect the winter has on me every single year. I'm like, why am I suicidal on January 20th every year? And it's like, oh, it's because you're just beaten down by the cold, gray doldrums of winter with nothing on the horizon to celebrate.
Right. Nothing. I think Vito and John, do you guys feel fat and out of shape and pasty and depressed? Do you guys feel good today? What's your feelings? Vito, go first.
I have felt like shit since the wedding. So I went to a wedding on New Year's. And I wore my...
That's nice. Way to go, whoever had that wedding. Thanks I appreciate it, you selfish fucks.
What a true sack of shit to think that everybody needs to start their year with you.
Great.
And even worse, so my wedding was October 21st, meaning that wedding was right after the holidays, after you let loose after your wedding.
Yeah.
And I made the mistake of saying I'm going to wear my custom-built suit from my wedding to this New Year's wedding.
Oof.
It didn't fucking fit. No.
Whoa. And how many months later was the New Year's Eve? Was your wedding?
October 21st to New Year's.
So about 2 months later, and it already didn't fit.
It already didn't fit. It was a custom-built suit. So basically that suit's built for 1 week of your life. So I
love that you're saying custom built as if there are people just nailing it together, assembling a wood shelf.
Vito wore a wooden suit to his wedding.
So I cranked out a 44-hour fast.
Okay.
Nice.
Did it work?
It fit better. It fit better than it did before the 44-hour fast.
I love
See,
that.
the thing is with the fasting, I'm a big proponent of it. Those 44-hour ones are great, but those aren't sustainable. Those are good for resets. It's about, you know what I think the difference is from where I was this year versus last year? Last year, I had, last year I was living in a house on Staten Island where I made my garage a gym.
Yeah.
So those days, these cold winter days were like today I didn't work out. the old me would have at least gotten 20 minutes in my little gym and kept that consistency, where now I didn't work out yesterday. I barely did anything. I didn't work out today. And then that will snowball into I'll get back to it Monday. And those 5 days you think don't make a difference literally changes the scope of your life.
Well, especially with us, because I feel like you and I store food in similar ways. Where like our first half of our lives were all sports, so we could eat high octane dog shit and just burn it off no matter what.
Literally high octane dog shit. I would pour Red Bulls on dog shit and eat it.
I mean, to the point where, dude, I farted in my car after a game, and my Aunt Mickey pulled over. And she was dry heaving and like almost throwing up in the fucking driver's seat of her minivan. Like that's the type of food I was taking in. Yeah. But now, because we still have that kind of mindset where it's like, oh, we work out, like it still burns off just as easily. We eat similarly because our brains have been trained to enjoy food that way. Right. And then, each and every, you could feel the additions.
Vito and John, be honest. Do our faces look chubbier? Does my face look chubbier here?
Mike looks slimmer. You look chubbier.
I look slimmer.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck. That was
damn
awesome. I mean, what, versus Radio City when you like were like that's like saying to me, when do you feel slimmer, now or your wedding day?
Right. But do you think I potentially look chubbier because of my beard?
Maybe.
No.
What do you think, John?
A beard is contour makeup for men.
Beard is slimming 100%. It's like
makeup,
Beard is slimming.
Yes.
So you think my face looks chubbier?
You just need to clean the beard. You got too much neck beard going.
John's saying I don't look chubbier. Vito's saying I am.
No, he said that a beard is slimming. He didn't say you don't look chubbier.
Damn.
I don't think you look chubbier though, at all.
Thank you, Mike.
I think you look paler.
Here's the thing, too. Here's the thing that I know now that I didn't know back then, or that I always have known, but what the truth is, if you have to, when I was in tip-top shape, or for me, I never even had to ask anyone because I knew I was doing the work. But when you're not doing the work and you start asking people, it's really like whether they tell you the truth or not is irrelevant. Yeah. You know you're not doing what you're supposed to do, and you're wearing your feelings. So if you feel fat, it's because you're not doing the work.
Right.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's not, don't let somebody else,
It's similar to like going into an audition, a set or whatever. You know if you've prepared.
Exactly.
The nerves leading in are a different nerves if you've also not put in the work. If you've put in the work, you do feel nervous, but then a part of you is like, once I get up there, I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
But like if you don't put in the work, you're like, this is crumbling.
I want to meet Aunt Mickey. I mean, she sounds like just an upstate lesbian with a haircut like a catcher's helmet.
It is exactly her haircut, dude.
Her
haircut is just the front part of Kate Gosling. Like it's just all kind of like crisscross, because she's from fucking Western New York, up near Geneseo.
Do you have a picture?
No, we don't talk like much of my extended family. I have no relationship
on your
with
father's
her
side
anymore.
or mother's side?
Mother's side.
Nice.
Believe it or not.
Interesting.
Yeah, we're fractured all the way down the middle.
Hell yeah, baby.
Dude, I used to go, she lived in Geneseo when I went to Geneseo. Right. So I actually had family 5 hours away that were local to where I was going to school. So it was kind of nice. But I was also on clenbuterol at the time.
Oh, which is a steroid, right?
Yeah, steroid / horse asthma medication that like it makes you build lean muscle.
Asthma.
It burns your fat while building lean muscle.
Cute.
But tremors are like a natural byproduct. And I would go with my friends to eat dinner at Aunt Mickey and Uncle Carl's house. And we'd be sitting down, and my Uncle Carl is a vet, and I'm just trying to like pick up a drumstick and eat it while I'm tremoring. And I like just posed the question. I was like, so Uncle Carl, I was like, you've heard of clenbuterol, right? And he's like, yeah, I've worked with horses that have needed that medication.
Right.
And I'm like, well, one of my friends is taking it as like a supplement for working out. And he like dropped his fork, shattered a glass, and was like, you need to tell your friend to get off that like yesterday. And I'm like,
I'll tell him.
Convulsing in his face, breaking out into a cold sweat. And I'm like, you got it, Uncle K. I'll let him know.
Uncle K. Yeah, man. Steroids, is back in the day stuff. I haven't partaken in years, but every day I'm getting closer and closer to just being like, just start taking them again.
Well, the moment I shoot a successful rope inside of my wife, the next day, like,
are you guys trying for another boo-boo?
Oh, we are, buddy. I got some stories for that.
Hell yeah, dude.
If you want to get into it.
So yeah, because you had asked me before, you were like, hey, can I still get her pregnant if she straps on a dildo and bangs me in the ass? And I told you no. Because you were like, hey, dude, you have a doctorate degree in physical therapy. You'll know this. And I said, no, you can't. So now you're not doing that anymore.
No, we stopped doing that. She did. She tried to obliterate my prostate like wrecking Ralph.
Yes.
No, it's intact.
Yes.
But now, I'm just full blown leaving it in, emptying the clip, just Heinz ketchup bottle, tapping the 57, trying to get every flavor spice into her.
Good. See that, and that's interesting because I have 3 kids. I have 2 biological daughters and my stepson. And but I was saying, the other day, my daughter, my 8-year-old, we pick up. I go to pick up my 2-year-old from daycare, and sometimes she'll come with me, Delilah, my 8-year-old. And yesterday she goes, Dad, I'll go with you to pick up Violet. And I was like, great. And she goes, and you know what we should do when you're home? She's like, we should make it our thing where you and I, before I do my homework, me and you go to the coffee shop right by Violet's school, and we talk for 45 minutes about my day and your day, and we just have me and you time, and then we pick up Violet.
Right.
And I was like, you're literally a better man than I could ever be. You little 8-year-old girl. And we did it yesterday, and literally she said to, like, she's never even said this to me, where I got her hot chocolate, I got a coffee, and she goes, so how was your day? And I was like, what? Like, she's never asked me like about me. And then I was like, it was good. And then I started telling her what I was doing. And then she started talking to me about her day. And then I said to her, I was like, what do you actually want to be when you grow up? Like, there's no wrong answers. And she was like, honestly, because I thought most kids say like, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be, a professional ball player. But she was like, I want to be a fashion designer. And I was like, that's specific enough where I was like, are any of the other girls in your class, I thought maybe from Barbie or whatever, do they want to be fashion designers? Yeah. She's like, no, all the other kids told me they want to be astronauts, or one girl said she wants to play the piano. And
also,
I was like,
knowing your daughter, that fits.
Right.
Like, it actually fits her personality and what she puts out there.
Yeah.
Like, she could very well be a fashion designer.
So right away, I was like, I had my comedy notebook with me. I always have it on me. I was like, I don't know how to sketch. I was like, why don't you start sketching some stuff? And let's meet, let's do this like weekly. I was like, it was one of those things where it's like, I love my kids, like I do, but so many times in the day, they're home on their iPads or we're running around. I was like, I almost never just sit and talk to her, just her and I, no distractions in the house. And I was like, oh my God, I have to do this like every day now. And like talk to her. And I had this feeling of like being like, am I a good parent or a bad parent? Where if this is the first time and I thought when I went home and told Jasmine, hey, do you know Delilah wants to be a fashion designer? She'd be like, yeah, we've known that for years. Even Jasmine was like, I didn't know that. She's like, that's awesome.
I think you're having, and I have this as well, I think there's a thing called like parental amnesia, where you forget some of the great stuff that you've done that has even led her to feel comfortable enough to say that to you in the first place. Right. You are a good parent because she asked how your day was. She told you without struggle what she wanted to be when she grew up. Right. So just considering the environment that you fostered and her comfort level to just say that means you're already doing a great job.
Right.
But also, you've talked to her alone. Like, it's hilarious to say I've never sat down and talked to my kid one-on-one. But for 100% before your biological second child got there,
right,
when you were spending time with her solo, like there's a lot of unaccounted time that you've spent with her that is developed, again, fostered the relationship that even gets you to that point.
I think you're right. And I also think that it's just she's now gotten to a level of maturity where when she talks to me, it's almost like I'm talking to a little adult, as opposed to when I used to ask her what she wanted to be or how her day was when she was 5.
Yes.
She'd be like, I ate my boogies.
Yeah.
Where now she's like, oh, I can actually talk to you.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. So that was like the first time I noticed that. And it was cool. And I was like, what would be the first thing you would do as a fashion designer? And she said, throw away those boots.
But I mean, dude,
it's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
What do you think your son wants to be? I know he's much younger than my daughter.
He waffles where he wants to be either a Wolverine, like the animal, Wolverine. Fine. But recently, because he's so interested in animals and big cats, he's a moral vegetarian, which we did not lead him down that path at all. It's just something where he was like, I cannot and will not eat animals.
That's kind of dope.
It is dope. We unfortunately, we've run out of a lot of ideas to get him protein, so sometimes we sneak it in. We're just a little dishonest with him. Gotta give him some meat. So, I mean, it's like the worst thing you could do to somebody, but whatever.
Yeah.
But I think
what do you tell him it is?
my wife has said tofu. She said something that takes on the flavor
It's
of whatever.
plant meat.
Yeah, like, you know, they're so good at it. They've figured out how to make it even shred like actual chicken. Like, it's just,
Oh my God, dude.
to his face lying. But again, this is a moment where my son, we took him to Tampa, right? And my wife and I, we've been trying for a second kid. We actually, I talked about this on Jim and Sam months ago, but we got pregnant, and my wife, like shortly after getting pregnant, got COVID. And I think, I'm not a doctor, but due to the COVID was pretty severe, and she miscarried at like 10 weeks. Another body on Biden's hands.
Exactly.
But, so,
Thanks, Dr. Fauci.
yeah, thanks a lot, you piece of shit, gain of function asshole. So whatever. So, you know, China killed our kid, and then we go on throughout
that baby's body's in Wuhan right now.
just growing leather wings.
Yes.
And so, you know, we got through that, which again, that's a really emotional process. And I don't know if you've ever dealt with it. I don't know if you even want to talk about it, but from a male perspective of watching the person that you love go through something while you're also going through loss, but watching them physically go through it and watching them also have to emotionally meet the moment, it's maybe the most helpless I've ever felt in my entire life. I'm trying my very best to offer support, but you really quickly realize that, like, the support that they need is with other women.
Yes.
You know, and so again, that's like, I'm noticing it in real time, so I'm not acting on it or anything like that, but my natural human reaction is like frustration and resentment of like, why aren't I enough? Why can't I offer you the support you need? I'm also going through this. I'm emotionally a wreck, all that shit. So it's hard. And then I don't know if it was a real pregnancy or a chemical pregnancy, because that can sometimes happen.
Chemical pregnancy is a good name for a band.
That's not bad, actually.
Right? Like My Chemical Romance, My Chemical Pregnancy.
Chemical pregnancy. And it's all women with fake baby bumps.
Yes.
That's not bad.
Yes.
And each chorus is just them crying.
Yeah.
So I think she had something like that, but she had, in Florida, she had a full-blown misdemeanor miscarriage again. And like, just like we were heading to a restaurant and it just happened. It was like really.
So she thought she was pregnant again.
We thought we were pregnant again. Yeah. And we may have been, I'm not sure, but like, it was just one of those things where, again, the physical. Also, I wasn't there the first time, and it wasn't like that. This was just like it all happened.
You weren't there, like you weren't physically there, or it wasn't your kid?
It wasn't my kid. Yeah, I could tell by the miscarriage that it wasn't Irish.
Hey,
it was from the miscarriage had too much rhythm.
It's tough too, because you never really know, because with like a miscarried fetus like that, they all look like Brendan Sagalow.
Very, very true. So on the second one, it's like we didn't know or whatever, but one of the things, like, my son picked up on it immediately, right? Like, didn't know what happened, didn't see what happened, but picked up on the emotional shift very quickly.
Right.
Was there for my wife, and it's amazing to see this kid who up until this point, out of sheer self-preservation, has been only about himself.
Sure.
Only like not really noticing anything even within his eyesight, but is like, Mom, are you okay? Like this and that. Sees me tending to her, hugging her, like really caring for her. And he said a thing that I think, like, if I think too hard on this, I can cry at a fucking drop of a hat.
If it starts to happen, Vito, please zoom in. Be ready.
He like, after I hugged my wife, and she was very like sincerely emotional, and he came over and he does this group hug thing, like the three of us always hug together, and he's like, man, we have a great family. And and I went into the bathroom and he looked at my wife and he goes, you know what, Mom, you and Dad really love each other. Like that's really nice that you guys really love each other. And my wife started crying, obviously, but like just that. I never saw or said that about my parents ever.
Right.
Like not one time did I look at their relationship and I was like, that is two people who care for each other deep down.
Yeah.
So just the simple fact that even just that, like he has that one moment to go to as like as a reference point for relationships for his future. I did my job a little bit.
I love that. Like one of your happiest memories so far of being a parent is your wife's miscarriage. Speaking of that,
the night is darkest before the dawn.
That's it,
right?
baby.
That's the great.
That brings us to just the opposite. This man, you're probably gonna hear about him on many podcasts. You probably see him all over social media. This man got 5 women pregnant at the same damn time, and he hosted a joint baby shower for all the mothers to be right away, right here in Brooklyn. And it's one of those things where if you're gonna do it, then lean into it and be proud of it and do it.
Yeah.
And I like that he kind of did this. I know that there's going to be haters, but my friend haters gonna hate. So you have 5 women pregnant at the same time. It's a beautiful thing. And I think if I were you, I would be praying that all 5 of them don't make it. Because my friend, you're going to have to come up with $25,000 a month for child support.
I mean, it might be the lack of smiles, but all 5 of them look like a problem.
Yes.
Do you know how in the Cosby Show they casted the whole family as every like shade of African American family?
Is that true?
Yeah, that's a real thing. That's why they all were like different tones.
Oh, I thought it was whoever didn't fall asleep to Spanish Fly.
Well, he did the same thing, and he picked every single parent as a different color of the rainbow.
Yeah. You gotta love the fact that the picture was designed that sort of him and Darkest are right down the pipe, and then it spreads out.
What
right
I like too
him.
is like, unless women show at different times, but they all seem like this was all within a month or 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This could have been on a train.
Scroll it a little bit. Scroll down a little bit. I want to see. I like his sneakers.
Does it say anything about the arrangement? Like, were they aware before they got pregnant that there were others involved?
Well, it says when your baby, one girl, Lizzie Ashley, said when your baby daddy got 4 other girls pregnant at the same time.
I see.
So I guess there was a main girl.
You can explain away a Nick Cannon with money.
Chris, everybody thinks they're the main girl.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. But
this one saying when your baby daddy, I guess they're all right.
I think they would all say the same thing.
Right.
Here, let's see. Like, what is they all actually look pretty happy. How is everyone involved not embarrassed? It's like, that's what one fan said. It's like, why be embarrassed? Like, just
but also
shit happens, dude.
Fan of what? Like, as soon as this is out of the news, these people will not be heard from.
Look at this. We love our baby daddy. We will not ruin our baby's lives. Good.
Yeah,
I think they're handling this. You're not, what are you going to do? Like, be mad and angry and then upset the baby womb? No, dude, just listen, it's his responsibility to take care of all 5 of these kids, so it's going to be big on him. But I think, like, if you're going to get into this, then you might as well just make it a positive thing.
The only thing, they have an obligation to almost raise these kids together, because if they either spread out and then somehow find each other later, or they stay in the same town but aren't really familiar with each other, 1 or 2 of them are going to end up banging. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just going to there's going to be some weird, like attraction. They're like, I don't know why, but I feel inherently close to you. Yes. And then they're going to have sex with them, and they're going to be like, why did that feel weird? And it's like, oh, that was your birth sister.
Dude, one time I was 13 or 14 years old, and I played for the, it wasn't CYO. I played in like this other basketball league, and it was like for, like those Latino churches had it, like Church of Latter-day Saints, or I forget, evangelical maybe. You know what I'm talking about.
Santa Maria.
Yes, the Latino churches. Like, I played for one in Queens, and they are, yes, Vito's writing 2 of those musicians, 2 of these, the baby daddy kid, 2 of them are musicians, so it could be a fake story. It could just be them trying to sell records. That's possible. That is possible. I think they should all get paternity tests. You should do that. Yeah. But anyway, this story. So, because what we would do is we would have basketball practice and then playing these games. But after the practice, there would always be a prayer and a lesson, because it was all based on religion. But it wasn't necessarily my religion. They just kind of recruited me because I was like the white kid that was shooting 1,000 jump shots a day. So like, we need this kid on our team. So I remember our coach, after the practice one day, he starts talking to us about like how we're becoming men and how we have to make the right decisions and all that. And we're like sitting down, and he goes, and honestly, he goes, there's times, like, even me as a man, like, I've changed my life, but I've made many mistakes. He goes, there was at one point in my life, he was like, I had 2 women pregnant at the same time. 2 women pregnant at the same time. And he goes, God intervened, and one of those babies didn't make it. He goes, and I swear, he goes, and that's because I prayed to God for it to happen. He goes, and I prayed to God, and then God will always be on your side if you pray hard enough. He goes, so God took that baby, so I didn't have to deal with it. And I was like, so first off, I'm thinking, well, that's crazy that you basically prayed for a miscarriage. Like, that's,
prayed for an abortion.
I know. Yeah. And then the second part of it, which I guess he didn't realize as he was telling the story, is his 13-year-old son was on the team. And as he's telling that story, his son is looking at him like he didn't know that information.
Oh my God.
And we're putting on our jackets, and I heard him saying to his dad, he goes, "I'm going to tell mom." And then the coach is like, "You cannot tell your mother. That was something I shared in confidence. Being a man is about, keeping secrets," or whatever he said. And I was like, "What?"
I love that.
I was like, "What an idiot."
Holy shit.
What an idiot. And I was like, holy smokes. But it's one of those things where, dude, you sometimes think you're in a situation, like this guy has 5 baby mamas.
Right.
You sometimes think you're in a situation and you feel alone, and then you realize there's always somebody out there who's in a much crazier situation. All right, this podcast brought to you by BetterHelp. Now, Mike, here's the thing, okay? Mental health and going to talk to somebody, these are important things, especially in the world we live in, especially around now. New Year's wasn't too far, wasn't too long ago. We get obsessed with how to change ourselves, and instead of just expanding on what we're already doing right, we think about all the things we're doing wrong, and sometimes it helps just talk to a licensed professional about that.
That's right. I mean, we talk about our mental health constantly, and BetterHelp, it makes it completely easy. You get paired up with licensed therapists. You fill in an entire sheet telling your issues, more describing about yourself, and then you actually get matched with somebody that suits your needs, and you can pass them off, go to the next one, and find somebody that you feel comfortable with.
And the best part about this, it's done entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule wedgie. If you're thinking of starting therapy, I say give BetterHelp a try. I use it. Mike uses it. John uses it. After all the baby teeth bashing, Vito has told us he is going to use it. So it is kind of, I think, for me, it's a must. And again, the ease of it being done online, I never cancel. I've changed therapists twice, actually. No harm, no foul. They do it like that. You fill out a brief questionnaire, matches you with who they think you'd be best with, and it's all done online. It's beautiful.
Truly ideal for people like us who have constantly shifting schedules as well, because I've done a therapy session in the car while driving to work.
Yes.
It's necessary. Sometimes you got to do it, and I wouldn't be able to do that if it was an in-person doctor.
And John just asked, do they have Spanish-speaking therapists? The answer is yes, they do, for John's girlfriend. Here we go. All you got to do is go to BetterHelp. That's HELP.com/chaos. You're going to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/chaos. 10% off your first month. BetterHelp, thank you for sponsoring this episode. Go ahead. If you're thinking about giving therapy a try, choose BetterHelp. Like, I really have been killing. I talked about this on last week's podcast. I've been crushing myself for selling the house on Staten Island when I had a good mortgage rate and I had a good place for my family, and I was crushing myself. And then one of my friends told me a story that his friend is even worse. He was like, dude, he goes, how about this? He goes, I know a guy who wanted to put, instead of getting a mortgage, against all advice from his financial team, when the mortgage rates were so low, they were like 2.5%. Instead of just taking out a mortgage, which 2.5% mortgage rate is like free money. He's like, I don't want to have a mortgage. I want to put all the cash I have into the house, and that's what I want to do. And they're like, that's stupid. He was like, I'm doing it. So he put all his cash into the house, right?
Paid it off?
No, right, paid it off. He now doesn't have a mortgage, right? He's paying taxes or whatever, doesn't have a mortgage, even though he could have put it in at 2.5%, which is, again, like free money. About a year later, his wife files for a divorce. And he's like, now I don't have any money to pay for. All the money that I have was in the house. So now she's like, I want half the house. And now, as part of the divorce, you now have to pay the mortgage for this house, and you have to refinance. And he refinanced at 8%. So now he's paying for the house that he could have had at 2.5%. Even if he got divorced, the mortgage rate's locked in. He now has to pay 8% and gave half of the money to his wife in a house he doesn't even live in. And I swear to Christ, my friend said this guy had a fucking mansion of a house, beautiful life, was making money. He now lives in a Holiday Inn Express in Weehawken, New Jersey.
I mean,
so he's like, so Chris, you don't have it that bad, dude.
That's why Alec Baldwin is beat red in the face, screaming about how fathers don't have rights.
Dude, Alec Baldwin just dropped the price of his Hamptons house by $10 million. Because he's like, if I don't sell, look, sale of his 19 mil. He dropped it, promoting the sale of his 19 million Hamptons home. When is this article from, though? I think he just dropped it by 10 million, I saw, or 5 million. He dropped it by millions and millions of dollars.
Alec Baldwin is my favorite psychopath.
Yeah.
I watch him on Instagram over the summer, especially when he's out at his Hamptons house. There was this video of him just sweating, beet red, sleeping bags under his eyes, and he's like, the summer months, as he's like speaking into his phone. He's like, the kids are all grown up, to like one of his housekeepers, and then goes, and it's coming back to the city soon, like just right back into it.
Nut
like
job.
A complete fucking lunatic.
Look at this. This is his home?
This is him selling his home.
Okay. This is from the summer, though.
This is the listing.
This is the list. He made a video listing.
Okay, let's watch. This looks good.
Smart.
Alec Baldwin.
Hey,
I've had a home out here on the east end of Long Island since 1982. When I was younger, we'd come out here and we'd sleep all morning and lay on the beach all day.
That was Kim Basinger territory.
Oh, yeah.
This place is the best.
He was like, yeah.
My first house was here on Bluff Road.
Bags of coke.
For 5 years.
I like Alec Baldwin. He just seems like a funny guy.
He's too much like my father for me to like him, but I do find the entertainment in him. You know what I mean?
So is this in front of his house right here, Vito?
I think he's showing us where he grew up. And then at some point, he's got to get to the house.
Yeah, I want to see the actual. It's $19 million.
Dude, his face looks like cut meat stored in salt. Like, it's nuts.
That's a sick house, but how is it $19 million?
Because of where it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably like a 6-bedroom home
Oh, that's
there.
why.
Oh, that's why.
That's why.
Oh, there it is. Now I see
It
it.
just took a drone. Holy
But
shit,
I think you have to
man.
drop it by 10 mil. I really do. I mean, look at this. Look at that land. I mean, okay, I get it. You get the land. Here's the thing. I know what people say. I am in no way at all a financial expert, so do not take my financial advice. And I have made big mistakes, but I am hearing more and more wealthy people who are smarter than me, who are real estate kind of experts. Number one, talking about, you got something?
So the house was originally listed for $22.5 million. He took it off the market. This video we just watched was him putting it back on the market for 18.9. So about $3 million it went down.
Yeah, by the way, let me just also clarify throughout this podcast, if we have any new listeners, welcome. The old listeners know I'm crazy. I routinely say something out of control that is in no way, shape, or form even remotely close to the truth, and then I change what I've said like that.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I was with a friend of mine who's a real estate agent, and he is a big real estate agent on Staten Island. And I said, "Oh, Method Man lives on Staten Island." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "He has a pretty nice house." I said, "Yeah, it's got to be a mansion. Method Man's worth $100 million." And then my friend goes, "No, he's not." I said, "You're right. It's probably about 50." And he goes, "It's not." I said, "Maybe it's 5." And so I immediately went from absolutely planting my feet and saying he's worth $100 million to dropping it down $95 million in about 10 seconds and being just as certain and walking away. And the answer is, of course, $14 million.
Yeah, I even think that's wrong. Here's the thing. This podcast is built on hyperbole, not on truth. It's, you're going to get the nuggets of information, but it's on you to extrapolate what is real and what's not.
So pull up the voicemail number quickly, Vito. I want you guys to leave us a voicemail specifically about, because I know what I'm about to say to you, what I'm about to say is going to get people really upset. So if there's a way to leave a voicemail and voice your concerns, or you want to talk to me about it, you can. Or write a comment, on Chrissy Chaos Pod. Email us, chrissychaospod@gmail. Comment on mine or I Am Mike Cannon or Christy Comedy Instagram. You can get angry. But I actually think we are entering into the point now with the price of homes and mortgage rates. And by the way, if you want to get angry, 347-343-3321, 347-343-3321. I actually think it's better right now. Again, I'm not a financial expert. I think it's better to rent than to own, because I think if you own a property right now, even if you're building it for long-term wealth, which I understand that's sometimes the only way people can build wealth is is with the real estate they own. I get it. But you are buying it at such an astronomically high price with an astronomically high mortgage rate. I cannot imagine the house that is okay in the right neighborhood that's worth $2.5 million is going to be worth $5 million 20 years from now.
Right.
I think it made sense when our parents bought a house at 90 grand and now it's worth 2 million. Fantastic. I think that it cannot possibly get any higher or worse. And I really think the best bet is to rent and keep that available cash and invest it in something that is guaranteed, like put it in a CD, or guaranteed to get 6% or whatever it may be. Because I'm just looking at some of the homes because I told you, like, I've completely made a horrific mistake and sold my Staten Island home, which was at a good price with a great mortgage rate. I absolutely fucked up. And now I'm looking to, my family wants to set down roots and buy a home. And all my financial people are like, these houses you're sending us are beautiful, but this is too much money.
Right.
And you have available cash right now. Like, even the experts are like, what about renting?
Yeah.
Because they're like, if you're going to rent, though, here's the catch. If you're going to rent and then use that available cash and not invest it and go buy a Bentley, that's stupid.
Right.
But if you're going to keep that cash, because you got to think about it. If I buy a house right now for $2 million or $1 million, $500,000, whatever the number is, and I put down 20%, that lump sum of money, right? That's just sitting in the house. So that money tied up, is that going to be getting 6% every year? Like, it might be the market? I don't know.
It's gaining inconsistent interest because it basically goes up and down with the house value, right?
And I read an article that said the average price of a U.S. house, if you take the highs and lows, over the past 100 years, the average price of a home in the U.S. goes up about 0.2%.
Well, it's not just that. It's also this is newfangled capitalism, I suppose.
And really, get mad, by the way, 347, what is it? Sorry to cut you off, Mike, and then go 347-343-3321. Leave your voicemails, comment, get angry at this. Let us know how you feel. I know there are people honking their horns, calling me an absolute asshole. I want to hear from you, 347-343-3321.
Well, I don't even think you're incorrect, because you're not saying it's forever. It's just for right now. And also, just like, all these corporations are buying up homes, property, all this shit in an effort to box out everyday people. It's like, if my parents made what I make back, that, like, we would have had we would have had an insane nice house growing up, but they made way less and were able to buy a really nice house. I can't buy that house today. Right. Even making more than my parents made. So it's like, it's a frustrating thing, because you're just being leveraged by infinite against infinite resources, and eventually your shit runs out.
Right. So the thing is, too, I'm thinking, like, the most available cash is king, what we've always heard, right? So unless you got a house for the right price at a low mortgage rate, which I absolutely had and gave it up, then I think renting seems more reasonable today, because people are like, well, then what are you going to leave your kids? It's like, the money that was the money that was getting interest in my bank account.
Right,
like, I'm going to leave them cash.
The only problem with renting is, like, now people are treating rentals as if they are buying a house, and they're actually outbidding people on rental rates.
Right.
So it's like,
but you're happy renting, right? I'm renting.
Yeah, I'd rather own. I mean, I'd rather have
even with this. Even with, you would rather take all the money you have and just put it in a house.
No, I would rather. I would rather have take away the money aspect of it. I don't know enough about it. I haven't really done enough. I just know I can't afford it right now.
Right.
But just like, if I would like a thing for roots, I would like roots for my family. I would have kind of a permanent residence for us. That would be nice, just to have something for us to grow from.
Right.
So, because when you rent, it's not like, my son doesn't feel it. I don't know. I think my wife feels it, but there's like, it's not home insecurity, as if, like, we're not going to have a house tomorrow, but it does keep it in the back of your mind. Like, at some point, we're not going to live here. This isn't ours. It does not belong to us. We have to keep it up for somebody else, for the actual owner of this place.
Right.
So there's that shit that, I don't know, man. Because for me, I'm so bad with money and just investing in general, that a lot of my investing stuff is peace of mind versus how it would make me feel otherwise. And the peace of mind of having a forever home feels really nice to me right now, having rented for this long.
Right.
But again, that's taking like 8% out of it.
But
you know?
but then the flip side of that is with the house prices today, you get fine. I understand what you're saying, but then you lose the financial freedom, and then that comfort is now lost because all the money you've been saving is in that house. Like that's how I'm feeling right now. Because like, you know, my family's like really pressuring me. They're like, we need roots, which I understand, but it's like, okay, but you got to understand right now, I don't, there's not like a gun to my, there is a little bit of a gun. If we buy a house, you're going to have a fucking bazooka at my head to make money, which doesn't feel good.
No,
you know?
And it's also like you and also me to an extent, but especially you are finding a work-life balance, and you've been working on that for a while now. So the idea of then leveling up financially, or at least increasing your nut, is then going to throw a complete spear through that, because it's like, okay, you didn't want me on the road, now I'm on the road double.
Exactly.
Because I got to cover everything that we just spent.
Yeah. Yeah, or the only other option is because my family, you know, like my mom bought a house for a low price in the 80s, and she has a good investment.
Yes.
She has a paid off house and a good investment. So the only option I could think of is going in and killing my family, and then I own it that way.
Yeah.
And then I could sell that to the Jews to make tunnels. No, I'm kidding. Listen, I think I speak for most men when I say we want to have better sex. And for the sake of our partner, we need to have better sex.
Definitely with my wife. And the issue is over-the-counter erection pills contain unregulated chemicals. They suggest unsafe doses and include the risk of several other health problems.
Listen, simply all you got to do, this thing comes in a palm-sized packet like your favorite electrolyte powder, and I have a palm-sized cock, so this works for me. All you do is mix 6 to 8 ounces of water 45 minutes before sexual activity, and you watch the magic unfold literally.
Well, we got to say what it is first. We partnered with our friends over at JoyMode.
JoyMode, a sexual performance booster. This is why we partner with our friends at JoyMode, because Mike and I were bringing limp dicks into the bedroom, and our girls have had enough.
Is there anything worse than pushing a chewed piece of gum into your wife?
Dude, no.
Like, especially after being together for a long time. She knows what could be there if you are ramped up to your fullest capability, and instead you're just giving her something that should be unacceptable.
Jasmine asked me the other day if I even have a dick anymore. and that's when I turned to JoyMode, because literally it is the sexual performance booster that is every man's solution for increased blood flow, firmness, stamina, and performance. We love JoyMode. It's small enough to fit in your wallet, and you take with it on the go. Folks, you're always going to get a discount for listening to this beautiful podcast. So if you want to redefine your intimacy, all you have to do is go to usejoymode.com for 20% off with code CHAOS. That's 20% off and free shipping with code CHAOS at usejoymode.com. Ingredients with integrity. JoyMode. Each week, I want to bring you a Parent of the Week story. We're going to call it POWs. Parent of the Week. So we're going to bring you a POW. Parent of the Week. Our POW of the week is each week. Sometimes it'll be good. Sometimes it'll be bad. It'll just be a story about parenting. And today, well, this is our POW, David and Louise Turpin. So David and Louise Turpin were parents of 13 children.
Is David one of the kids from Iron Claw? Because that haircut is atrocious.
Have you seen Iron? I know you have, Vito.
Yesterday.
Okay, so maybe on the Patreon we'll talk about Iron Claw, because I've heard a lot about Iron Claw. I have not seen yet, but I've heard like all his kids died. We'll talk Iron Claw on patreon.com/Christy Comedy. But parents of 13 children from Paris, California, Pentecostal Christians. That's the church that I play for, the Pentecostals.
Isn't that like all the cheering and the singing?
Yes, they're like, Jesus, motherfucker. That's the church I play for. The Pentecostal churches, you should literally have to pay tickets to go into the church, because it's like you have so much fun.
It's like the white version of Baptist.
Yes,
right?
It's so great. So Pentecostal Christians who believe God called on them to procreate, very Puerto Rican of them. They participated in the swinging culture. They were Disney adults, these lunatics.
By the way, doesn't the wife kind of look like old Meadow Soprano?
Whoa, yes.
Like true, like if Meadow just got huge into banging H.
Yes. So So they were these Disney parents, you know, like Disney adults. The children were never seen in public. They never left the house. They were described as malnourished and pale, like Vito described me earlier in the pod. It was later discovered that for years, the parents imprisoned, beat, and strangled their kids. The kids were allowed to eat once a day and bathe once a year. Police investigated...
Intermittent showering.
That's it. They investigated their home in 2018 after one of the daughters escaped and called 911. During the welfare check, police were overwhelmed with the smell of feces, decaying garbage, dead pets, and moldy food. Some children were shackled to their beds, and a 29-year-old child was found weighing 82 pounds. Goal weight. Parents David and Luis were arrested and charged with 12 counts of torture, 12 counts of false imprisonment, and 13 counts of abuse. And they both received life sentences in prison. Thank God, because if they had done this in New York City, they would have been out the next day. So I'm happy.
It would have been technically a nonviolent crime.
Yes.
They would have been allowed out.
Thank you so much to the beautiful
Was
law.
this that video with the cops walking in and the girl had like the crazy rings under her eyes, like almost
Can
like
we see
brown?
that? Pull that up. I've never seen any video.
That was almost like too upsetting for me to watch. Like this shit is so intense, man.
Because
and also that's the only time that it's appropriate to call somebody a 29-year-old child.
Yeah.
Because that person is a child. That's
Right.
a 29-year-old who has never lived a day of life.
I didn't know Jasmine was a news host on Los Angeles, CBSN Los Angeles. That girl, I thought that was literally Jasmine talking to the fucking... Yeah. So how's how Jasmine looks at me every time I walk in the house, just furious, just like, what are you doing? I can't believe you're wearing those boots. Yeah, is this the video? Is this it, Mike?
I think so.
This is her. Okay. But I think what happens with this, I saw something about this once. They actually have a nice kitchen. I saw something about this once, that these parents, some of them, I don't know if it's those, but there's this psychological thing that happens where they love their kids in the beginning initially, or fearful of their kids getting hurt so much that they're like, I can never let them out of my sight, and they chain them up. I don't know that's what happened here. I have no idea. But oh God, what a shitty body that guy has. Could you imagine having that lump of shit body?
I didn't even see it.
Watch when he goes up, it's just like fat, it's just like getting worse and worse as it just hangs down with his haircut. Look at that.
Oh my
just
God,
full tits.
that's tough. That's like that's a body, like a pile of body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you pour in somebody's body from their head down, and all the weight settles around their waist and ankles.
Yeah, his body. It looks like you know, like the honey that you squeeze. That's like shaped like a bear. That's what he looks like.
Or like a custard bag for a cake.
Yes. Yeah. What a dirty piece of shit. But it's you know, these people. See, my thing is, like, people like this who do this, like, I understand we live in a society where, like, we need to be kinder to each other, and I get that. But with something like this, where it's telltale, 100% evidence what you did to these kids, like, you should kind of, that Hammurabi's code, eye for an eye, kind of should apply, where it's like, well, now you get chained up, and your punishment is you get chained up.
Yeah.
And
the kids on pay-per-view, so then the kids could actually get the door, you know, like a whole event where the kids can get set up, not a GoFundMe, nothing like that. It's actually entertainment, and the funds go to the kids.
Yeah.
Tie these parents up and let them hit them with crowbars in the face.
I think that's okay. There has to be some fear of the law. There has to be some fear. I'm not saying beat people, but there has to be some type of thing where it's like, so I'm just going to go.
The thing is, the fear won't deter it regardless, because that type of mental illness is unfixable. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that those guys are gonna. You're not going to give them mushrooms or some talk therapy, and they're going to be like, you know what? Maybe I won't shackle my kids. Right. Instead, it's like, so the fear almost doesn't matter. Instead, it's just got to be like making something good out of a bad situation. Right. And it's like, listen, it's not necessarily injecting happiness into the world, but it is some sort of like, you know, vindication. Right. And it shows that if you do get tortured, you don't just have to live. Right. Like, you can actually cave in your assailant's head and feel a little bit better about it.
Yeah, because I kind of feel like, you know, first of all, you know, the main question I have for the Turpin family is, do they rent or own? And what was their mortgage rate?
I mean, if so, seeing the inside, they're not getting the deposit back.
Listen, I have no problem either with Disney adults. I have no problem with you. I want you to live as free as you want to be, because I truly believe, like, you're only going to live once. Make you happy. Just stay away from me.
Sure.
I just don't want you, if you got into that Disney stuff, which is, again, fine. I don't have a problem with it. I really don't. But I also have a right to be like, stay away from me and my family, because there's something I perceive as being like, this is too much.
It's also like, this is what everybody thinks.
Right.
Like, this is what they think you're up to when you're 40 with a princess fucking poster on your wall.
Right.
You maniac.
Right.
It's like, so these people didn't do you any favors. I'm sure there are non-violent, non-kidnapping Disney adults out there, but these people really slam the stereotype shut, and that is exactly what everybody thinks.
Yeah. Call the hotline. Also, if you want, if you're mad about the real estate advice, call the hotline, 347 just leave it up there at all times. 347-343-3321, 347-343-3321. Talk to us about real estate advice if you're mad at that. And also, if you're a Disney parent or no Disney adults and you want to defend them or defend yourself, or kind of tell us how bad they are and for what reason, let me know. And also, if you've ever been chained up by your family, let us know.
I should tell Sagalo. He went to Disney like a year ago with his sister. No kids.
With no kids. And then he came back with dyed bleach blonde hair. He came back with a haircut like David Turpin.
Have you guys heard of Disney adult gums?
Disney adult gums?
They say everybody who's a Disney adult has gums like this.
Interesting.
That's the early Miley Cyrus teeth.
Yes.
Yeah. When it's more gum than enamel.
Right. Yeah, I that's interesting.
Dude, that's a symptom of drinking Southern Comfort when you're pregnant.
Yeah.
Like, that is not right? Like, that has to be
Can
something.
you fix that? Can you somehow shave down
can you
gum or
fish
lower
up?
your lip or give you more teeth?
The veneers, right?
You make your teeth bigger.
Yeah, you would probably just get them taken out and then get implants put in
So
to cover it up more.
I know exactly what they do. They have to pull your whole shit. They then have to basically grind your gum up and then reseal it and then screw in fucking caps. Dude, teeth surgery is my nightmare. I have a fake tooth in the front.
Yeah.
Did I tell you the story?
No.
In 7th grade, I was such an asshole. Like, the gym was locked and I was the only one in our gym before practice. And one of my buddies was like banging on the door. So I put my face up to the window and did that like thing where you expand your face and you could see inside your mouth. And my buddy's like, and punched the window, and it just turned my front tooth into dust.
That sucks.
Yeah, it really did.
Have I told you guys I still have 2 baby teeth?
What?
Those are baby teeth.
Vito, baby.
That's disgusting. How do you have baby teeth still?
So my wisdom teeth apparently came in slightly crooked and blocked my wisdom teeth, my adult teeth from coming up. So these 2 are baby teeth.
So those are the exact teeth you had as an infant.
And then if you look up here, you can see my adult teeth stuck.
Oh, dude, you're like The Hills Have eyes.
That's terrifying. Dude, one of the most cringe things I've ever heard is Vito still has his baby teeth.
With the adult ones coming over the top.
My God, dude.
Now, do you want to hear what I would have to do? If
Your wife is a pedophile for kissing you.
If I wanted to get it fixed, they would have to do surgery. They'd have to pull the baby teeth out. Then they'd have to go into my gums, cut out the adult teeth from the top of my gums. Then they would have to put fake teeth in.
Here's the thing, dude. Anything to not have a child's tooth in my mouth.
Do me a favor. Pull up that number, 347-343-3321. Call us and tell us, should Vito get his baby teeth removed? And do you want to see it on Patreon?
Is that a Patreon goal?
Is that a Patreon goal? Do we get enough money here at patreon.com/ChristyComedy to have Vito, for the love of God, get his baby teeth removed so his wife doesn't have to face criminal charges? 347-343-3321.
When Vito goes to the dentist, a fucking baby mobile is hanging above it.
Yes. Dude, if I was your wife, I would never let your mouth near my vagina, because the last thing I want is your toddler fucking lips down there. Oh my God. Does she know that you have your baby teeth?
Yeah, she wants me to do all the surgeries to get
I
it.
bet she does.
Dude, your wife's going to be the one who calls 347-343-3321. Call the hotline.
Could you imagine if Jasmine had like 2 baby fingers and had to jerk you off with like that hand?
Disgusting, dude.
You'd just be like, oh no.
This is gross. I've actually never heard of anyone who still has their baby teeth.
No, I didn't know
Is this
that
a
was a thing.
phenomenon? Are you a rarity?
I'm a rarity, but I looked it up, and this is a thing some people have. Some people do.
People
still
that were born in Chernobyl.
Yeah. Yeah. People that were chained up by their parents for 28 years. Jesus Christ. All right. You want to talk more about the Jewish tunnels? What else do we got to talk about? What else do we want to get to today?
You didn't talk about the Jewish tunnel.
We didn't get to that.
Well, what's new about the tunnels? Is there new developments?
No, but you guys we haven't been on since they broke. So I think
Right.
people would want to hear your perspectives.
Yes,
on the
I
Jewish
mean,
tunnels.
there's, if you know now, this happened a couple of weeks ago. A Brooklyn synagogue built tunnels underneath their synagogue.
Right near where I used to live.
Right where in Crown Heights. They're saying to allegedly what? Connect other synagogues. But what they've done is the way they dug, of course, without permits or anything like that, have now ruined the integrity of the structures of the buildings, and the entire block could collapse at any moment.
By the way, first of all, that guy, the Hasidic guy just kind of crawling out of the sewers, the only time you would see that happening is if you just started tripping on mushrooms.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like shit like that, like just a Hasidic crawling out of the sewers only happens when you're on hallucinogens.
Right.
And you're like, no way anybody else would believe that this is a real thing.
Which is crazy too, because like I know like some of like, my conspiracy theorist friends think like they see a Hasidic Jewish person crawling out of a tunnel and they're like, that's what they've been doing for years. They don't think it's anything out of that's just they assume they lived in the sewers anyway, which is.
The thing is, it's not that they've been doing that, but they've been doing other things that go completely against building code or any. I mean, that's like long since reported. What is it, landlords and all that stuff. I love the mook cops that come in and are like, in America, you just can't do this,
dude. Go back to that video quick. This cop who climbed on the table. I mean, look at his part in his hair. That guy.
Clean.
If you're taking out one of those like black '60s combs and part in your hair, you are definitely every day looking to hit Jews with a stick.
That guy has an Epstein didn't kill himself t-shirt. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Hard.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Did you guys hear about the dude who tweeted months ago?
Yes.
I live on the first floor. There's nobody below me. I'm convinced there's Jewish people living underneath my
And
apartment.
they're like, you anti-Semite fuck.
Literally, they're like, this guy's a piece of shit. He's like, no, there are people speaking Yiddish underneath my floor. And they're like, I can't believe what an absolute anti-Jew asshole you
fascist.
are. Yeah. It turns out he was completely right.
Completely 100% right.
But that's the thing. Why isn't that guy on the front page of the Post with an I'm sorry or we're sorry?
Because that's not the way, that's not how it's going to work. I mean, listen, dude, it's one of those things. Now, I don't know this. I don't know actually the length of stuff, but like even Kevin Spacey got exonerated from all the he went to court and he was exonerated.
Yeah.
And the news doesn't say anything about that. I don't know if because there's more to the story.
It's because he keeps giving interviews in character. It's like, dude, I don't know how you're getting away with this, but you had to do something to someone.
Dude, I have just started watching House of Cards. I'm on episode 3. Season 1, and we are pretty glued to that show. Have you seen the whole?
No, but I hear it's pretty incredible until it's not.
Really?
Yeah,
Then
it's
it gets
one of those
stupid.
shows. It's like kind of lost.
Right. Yeah. Right now it's kind of nuts.
I like how he's like, well, as the president of the United States. And
Yeah.
it's like, you are not from the South, dude.
Could you imagine he is like wins the candidacy as him?
That would be cool.
So this is him on Tucker Carlson's show in character,
Right.
as Frank from House of Cards.
May be true, actually, but then they're protected by the First Amendment. They can say whatever they want. You believe in the First Amendment, I assume.
Of course I do. Look, people spewing ridiculous ideas is nothing new, and they should always have that right. But the problem is, somewhere along the way, we started listening. And we should remember the salient words of Benjamin Franklin, who said, do not believe anything of what you hear.
This is what the world is now. I actually don't. It's like, dude, do it. Just do it, dude.
Why not?
Why not? Because I don't know that we're a simulation or not anyway. So it's like you might as well just be whoever you want to be, dude. Who is the real you? How am I to say that the real you is Kevin Spacey and not this guy? I don't know.
It's also like brilliant.
Good.
Like, it's unbelievable. I mean, what's the difference between Daniel Day-Lewis and that?
Yeah, nothing.
What is the difference? It's just like that just got released.
Yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis is just as much of a chode talking to people in Plainview's accent in between takes and shit like that.
Did you hear he might be coming out of retirement?
Daniel Day?
Oh, I saw that for Scorsese, right? He wanted to put
out
a
new movie?
Yeah.
A Jesus movie.
He's going to play Jesus?
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
That's the rumors.
Kind of like that.
He's going to make an 80-minute, no fucking way, Jesus movie.
Ooh. I kind of like it.
Yeah,
There's no way he makes it 80 minutes.
Well, he already made a Jesus movie, though,
Mr.
didn't
Scorsese.
he? Yeah.
That was his like second movie?
Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Scorsese, if you're making that movie, you can contact me as I am an expert as I've completed now The Case for Christ.
Have you finished it?
No, I'm still halfway through. I literally I cannot explain to you how in the zone I was months ago, getting up every day, working out, reading every day, waking up at 5 a.m., 2 hours before my family, and now literally I cannot get out of bed, haven't read in a month. I am absolutely snowballing down the wrong way. Like today, we have to leave with the kids by 8 a.m. to get them to school in time. And I used to be up at 5, get all my reading, my workout in, be like up for 3 hours already. And today I woke up at 7:55 and was contemplating letting my 8-year-old walk to school by herself because I didn't want to get out of bed.
Yeah.
And that's probably seasonal depression.
It definitely is. And let me ask you this, because this is something that I've been kind of jockeying about and trying to be kinder to myself, is does any part of you give yourself a little bit of grace to fall off? Whereas this is all ebbs and flows. At this point, you've seen how the cycle goes. You get really into shit, then you fall off a little bit, but then you get really back into it. You fall off a little bit. In my opinion, or there's no such thing as 100% consistency. There are people that certainly do it, and I think those people are sociopaths. Right. But if you're a real person dealing with the ebbs and flow of everyday life, you're going to have some fall-offs, you're going to have some pick-me-ups, you're going to have all that shit. So the only thing that you can do is just allow yourself grace during the fall-off so you can get the rebound faster. Right. Because if you sink into the fall-off, then that only makes it last longer, and you're like a Treyu in Never-Ending Story stuck in the fucking mud with a white horse. So you gotta figure out a way to just like be kind to yourself, allow yourself to take the beating that you naturally give yourself, and then get the fuck out quick.
No. No, it's true. All right, what's this? Sean Strickland gets angry when a reporter asks him to clarify his opinion of LGBT. Here we go.
A woman in every kitchen, a gun in every hand.
Oh, look, another. I'm saying he's a swamp, you guys, a swamp. You become a champion, you become a star, and someone. Let me ask you something. Are you gay? Are you? Let me know. Are you gay? Can I get an answer? Well, no, I'm asking. This is the part. Are you a gay man? I'm an ally of the community. Okay. If
so you're a gay man.
Son and he was like, son, he was gay. You'd be like, oh man, you don't want a grandkid? No problem. Oh man, well, dude, you're a weak fucking man. You're part of the fucking problem. You elected Justin Trudeau. Like, when he sees the bank accounts, like you're just fucking pathetic. And the
what does that have to do with
Justin Trudeau?
Backbone. And has he shut down your fucking country and seized bank accounts? You ask me some stupid shit like that? Go fuck yourself. Move the fuck on.
Really answer the question, but I did want to ask also things you said about the trans community. You said this past October when they announced the Bud Light sponsorship that you'd go so hard on Bud Light in your next fight they'll have to accept me or denounce me when they'll know what they stand for.
This guy's like, hey, this Canadian's not that Canadian.
Are you still going to use your fight time to kind of speak on that?
Here's the thing about Bud Light.
Yes. Love this pause.
10 years ago, to be trans was a mental fucking illness. And now all of a sudden, people like you have fucking weaseled your way into the world. You are an infection. You are the definition of weakness. Everything that is wrong with the world is because of fucking you. And the best thing is the world's not buying it. The world's not buying your fucking bullshit you're fucking peddling. The world is not saying, you know what? You're right. Fucking chicks have dicks. The world's not saying that. The world's saying, there are two genders. I don't want my kids being taught about, who they could fuck in school. I don't want my kids being taught about, their sexual preference. Like, dude, this guy is the fucking enemy. You want to look at the fucking enemy to our world It's that motherfucker right there.
God damn, dude.
Could you imagine? First of all, when you see an ear like that, just don't say anything.
No.
I wouldn't even ask you. I would just say, if I was reporting that, I would say, Mr. Strickland, I just want to say that I love you. I just want to say that I love you, and then I would move on and ask the next. I'm not going to fuck with your ear, dude.
The fact that there's any questions that are even outside of fighting is unfair to these guys. Do you know what I mean? Like, they literally
It's a good point.
throw their bones at other people's bones in an effort to turn them off.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you're not going to get fucking humanities lessons out of these dudes. Who gives a fuck what's wrong? Also, it's like, agree, disagree. Who cares?
Oh, well, I don't agree. You know, Strickland's like, you know, whatever, his opinions. It's, you know, saying crazy stuff. The thing I do agree with Strickland about is why, and Mike about, is like, the reporter is a weasel. I'm not saying
Totally.
for his you know, opinions on whatever trans gay. Not that. He's a weasel because I know he asked that question to get this soundbite
100%.
to make him. So you're a fucking weasel.
Yeah, 100%.
And that to me is, I agree with you, is like, why ask fighters about anything other than the fight ever?
Right.
Why?
I mean, and it's similar to like basketball and all this stuff. And people are like, keep the politics out of fuck LeBron James. He's a piece of shit. And it's like, you're cutting out the question to the answer. You know what I mean? Only the soundbite of LeBron saying this and this is civil and is not justice and whatever. And people are like, how dare he speak out apropos of nothing? And it's like, no, these weasel journalists that know for a fact that there are two completely divided sides that are going to both feed on the outrage of what he said, then the response to the outrage, then the response to the response to the response.
Yeah.
And all of these people are just vampires.
Yep.
They have no interest in justice. They have no interest in truth. They have no interest in anybody even having like an even playing field. They just want you to sell your opinion so they could put food on their table.
That's it, baby. And coming to you live from Slam Magazine, the name of this episode is called Shut Up and Dribble. One voicemail, then we're out of here. Let's listen to what people who called in. We will take one a week from 347-343-3321. Any questions, concerns, we got you. Specifically, we asked you to call in about some of the things on this episode. But if you have a mental health issue, a parenting issue, we're here to listen. So go ahead.
Hi, Chrissy. This is Zach. You might remember me. I was the director of photography on the famous Backyard Bar Wars. I know you love that show so much. I loved it too.
Love it.
But I think you might remember I left the show early because I legitimately lost my mind. I was going through a lot of stress, and I left the show to go to like basically mental health rehab. And one of the main reasons I went is just because my career had me basically traveling for 8 to 10 months a year, and I had kids at the time, and being away from my kids had just destroyed me. But at the time, I didn't know you were sort of going through the same thing. And it was interesting to me to find out later that, you know, that's something that you struggled with as well, and it's kind of been such a difficult point in your life. And it made me think, you know, maybe if during the show, you know, I could have been more open about it and found some common ground, that me and you could have been sort of a resource for each other, and maybe I wouldn't have gone so crazy. So I guess, well, I'm feeling better now, obviously, and we've talked since then, but I guess my question would be, oh, there's my 1-year-old running in the room right now.
The kid sounds like Vito's mouth.
How would you recommend people sort of, especially males that are going through difficult things, sort of find a common ground? Like, because in that situation, we could have probably talked about it, and it would have been therapeutic, but there was just no way that would have happened. So how can you you know, sort of help? How can males find a common ground with one another? You know, so how could we be more open and stuff like that, even if we're seeing somebody else struggle? Because I have a problem opening up, and I mean, you're pretty open, but yeah, I don't know. I'm just rambling now, but yeah, I just have a hard time opening up to other people, even if they're my friends or whatever it may be. So how would you recommend I do that? Oh, crying baby. Gotta go.
All right.
Bye.
There it is. All right, that's our good friend Zach, who I did work at with Backyard Bar Wars, a show that I love so much, and is available, I believe, on HBO Max. That, I think, I'm happy that he's attending to his baby. I don't know that if he has him chained up or not. I have no idea. But his main question, which, by the way, great voicemail, keep it shorter if we can. I know Zach, is doing a million things, and I'm being very careful because I don't want him to blow his head off. So I love you, Zach. But just keep it shorter. Get concise to the point. I know you got a baby, you're doing stuff. But Zach, the good question at the end there was, how do men, common ground? How do we talk about our feelings? And I think now more than ever, guys talk about their feelings. I think it's kind of becoming cooler to be more open and vulnerable.
100%. And also, I mean, could you guys have related? Yes. Do I think out of nowhere at a work thing, just being like, hey man, I'm struggling. Are you?
Yeah.
That's probably pretty inappropriate at that time. But the key is to find something, like, I feel really comfortable with you saying how I'm feeling. And even that, stuff we talked about earlier, the miscarriage stuff, that's vulnerable, open shit. And it makes there's still a level of discomfort in talking about it. But if there's somebody on the receiving end that you trust and and you know that they're here for you, it just makes it a little bit easier. So, I mean, the advice of make friends sucks, but it is kind of like, just find who you can have these conversations with.
Also, another big thing that's different in our world now, but back then, it was very hard to notice what people were going through because that was at the height of COVID and we all wore masks. Yes. And I'm telling you, dude, I guarantee you, if we weren't wearing as many masks, the depression would be a little bit less. I think a big part of why Zach and many other people probably had to, go get some help was because of that time.
Totally.
And part of the reason you're feeling better is because we're looking at each other's faces again.
Yeah. I filmed a TV show during COVID, and I've never felt more alone in my entire life.
Dude.
I was staying in a hotel on a highway in Atlanta. I got flown down there. I had no communication with anybody really until we got there. Then they'd test you in this place. They'd kind of put you together, but they'd yell at you if you got too close. Your mask couldn't come down. It was such a high tense environment that comedy almost couldn't even exist because of it. And therefore, anything you were good at, you're just in your head, and it's so strenuous. It looked like everybody had that kind of look, but also during that time, people were trying to keep their shit together too.
Right.
So it was, you're right though about that time, especially people were going through
I remember too on that show, I think we were doing the pilot, whoever the COVID czar was, whoever there was always a COVID person running. She was she gave us this speech in the beginning, the whole cast and crew. And she was like, keep your mask on. If someone gets COVID, it is your fault. If you can. And I was like, are you a dumb lady? And then guess what? She got COVID and never came back. All right, folks. This has been Chrissy Chaos. Thank you guys for all the calls. Patreon.com/Christy Comedy. We're going to be talking about a bunch of other things. We got some stories about Chinese monkeys. We got some of the stuff we've edited out. You can see there on Patreon.com/Christy Comedy. New merch coming to ChristyComedy.com. The merch company we were with went bankrupt, but we are finding new one. Vito, Wreck-It Ralph, Jihadi John Grady, Mike Cannon, Chrissy D. We're here. We're queer. Drink a beer.
Not a Bud Light.